The January effect, something we talk about every year, and probably if you rewind on some of the shows I've been on from last year, or our show here, or a radio show that Sunday Money Show that I do as well, or any of my appearances on BNN or CP24, I'm sure I've mentioned the January effect many times. And that's simply put, what that is simply is that January, we tend to see markets move higher. Plain and simple. We don't really know exactly why that is. Perhaps it has to do with tax loss selling. A lot of people sell their stocks in December, they wait 30 days, and then they buy back those same stocks in January. As we know, we sell stocks in December for the capital loss to offset against perhaps a capital gain that that investor may have. And as long as you wait 30 days to buy back that stock, you could then write off that capital loss against the capital gain. So perhaps it's because people are buying back stock in January. Perhaps it's because everybody comes back to the new year after a holiday season, Christmas, New Year's, and we're in a good mood and we're looking to buy. Not sure exactly why that is, but the January effect is real. And more often than not, January moves higher. And as I said off the top of the show, we can kind of extrapolate or go even further with the January effect and say, as goes January, goes the rest of the year. More often than not, if we get a positive January, we have a positive rest of the year. Now, it doesn't mean every month will be positive, but for example, last year, things looked good in January. We had a great year, although at times it was called into question. The end of the summer, September, October, markets moved down last year, but at the end, we had a very strong year, good returns. S&P 500, 24% growth. The Dow was over 12% growth. TSX around 7% growth. NASDAQ well over 40% growth. So the year was very, very good. We have a couple of charts here to show the January effect. You can see here, this one talks about all the months of the year. And you can actually see the best month of the year is December on average. And we talk about seasonality all the time. November, December, January. These tend to be put together the three best months of the year for the stock market and North American stock markets, but European stock markets tend to do well as well at this time. But you can see December actually outperforms January, but quite a bit. And there are other months that actually are a little bit higher than January. But when you factor in January after a strong December and a strong November, you can clearly see that this 3-month period is very, very strong. So overall, coming into a new year, I don't think you can just buy blindly into the stock market, just buy anything because the January effect is going to kick in. Obviously, there are no guarantees that every year the January effect will happen. But yes, more often than not, January tends to be a positive. And because of that, more often than not, as goes January, goes the rest of the year. And we see that the markets tend to do well on an annual basis more often than they do not do well. So yeah, I think January is a positive month. Hopefully we keep the, the streak going this year. So far, so good. We started the year off on a bit of a negative note, but we've seemed to rebound over the last few days. Market's been a little bit stronger, again, led by some NASDAQ and tech stocks in general. And hopefully that can continue for the rest of the month.